to the timetable is essential for the credible conduct of the 2023 election. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says political parties that failed to comply with the provisions of Electoral Act 2022 would not be allowed to participate in the 2023 elections. INEC National Commissioner in charge of voter education, Festus Okoye, said political parties are between now and the 4th of June 2022 to conduct primaries or have themselves to blame. Asoko, let me start with that clause of the Electoral Act that says public office holders must, as in
section 84, subsection 12.
Yes, section 84, subsection 12.
No political appointee.
I think they have up to on the 11th of April to leave the office.
That is based on what the Constitution says.
Yes.
The Electoral Act did not specify the time.
Okay.
It just said, okay, that is where I think the next reform will have to come. It has to specify the time based on what is also in the Constitution.
Yes. Now we have the dates and timetable for primaries,
which is April 12 to 3rd of June.
Do you understand?
61 days.
So that means anybody that want to contest. So anybody hiding under one appointment. Now, but the last judgments, what will be the fate? As in, the last judgment still, nullified that section. So what is the situation now? What will political parties do?
No, the thing is, INEC is
working.
State
High Court.
INEC is working based on what the electoral law, the one that was signed by the president in February 25th. That is what they are working with now. And I like INEC. They are telling everybody, come, based on this act, this new act. And this act, if you look at it, if you read some major sections of it, it gives the political parties enough time for them to do whatever they want to do in terms of the time for your primaries, time for convention, time for you to submit your candidates' names and even upload, make changes and all that, So INEC is also following that. INEC knows that if from the 4th to the 3rd of June, if political parties do not finish, any political party that does not finish its primaries after June, they will run foul of the law. So they have to also look at that, because by September, based on section 29, every political party shall not later than 180 days, that is section 29, before the general election must submit the names of their candidates. So by September, all names.
That means people that want to go to court, litigation, everything,
they have to do that before September.
So that final submission, everybody is done with, because, and that is it. Before it was even lesser. Before it was 90 days, but now they made it 180 days. So you now have additional 90 days for you to play with, along with it. So all political parties should, because I know before we came here, I noticed that APC, PDP, they've released their own timetable for their primaries in terms of House of Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, and Presidential. So the PDP goes first. And don't forget the Electoral Act, the new Electoral Act, section 84, subsection 1 or subsection 2, talks about the process, as in the procedure to use. If you want to use direct, you use direct. If you want to use indirect, use indirect. If you want to use consensus, you can go ahead and do consensus. But the proviso is all the other aspirants has to write that, okay, we are withdrawing and endorsing our candidates. Now looking at it, it's as if we're almost there.
We're there.
As in, we when we talk about 2023, some people will think it's something that is far. But from this timetable, from this breakdown, that yes.
Actually, for the 2023 election, 2022 is the election year. That's the reality. Yes.
It's just election.
It's election
That's
year.
just election.
Yes, that is the only
2022
is election year.
That is the reality, and that is why
Everything will take
from
place.
January this year, just take a look. It's been talked about
Politics.
Governance has taken the back seat. We are now talking politics. We are doing politics. Even governors, senators are doing less of governance, more of politics.
No, they are more in Abuja.
Because that is where
most of these governors are always.
if you don't have your hand on the power pie now, you're on your way out.
Yes, so
In 2023, if your hand is not on the power pie, you are on your way out. So everybody is struggling to be where the decision is being taken. Now, what do we have here? The reality is the new amendment to the Electoral Act and the controversies trailing it has kept politicians and political parties more busy, busier now than they used to be, in the sense that the timing are now more clear cut. You cannot claim ignorance or
not knowing.
not know your it's almost cast in stone that this is what you ought to be doing by now. So if you are not doing what you should be doing now, you already know you are running towards failure. And if you look at what the parties are doing too now to ensure that they are in check, they announce intention forms and nomination forms. Let's see those who will even pick from first. By that Electoral Act, it is those who pick the form that are the stakeholders who must agree to a consensus. So if you are an aspirant that have been pasting posters all over the place and
you are not picked for,
you are no longer part of those who should form the consensus. So I think it's clear cut. Now the parties are discussing all the options, indirect, direct, consensus. All the parties are telling aspirants, first we will try to go by consensus. And how are they going? The delegates are clear now who will be voting, and that is why there is one mistake we are making about this issue of resigning or not resigning. Many people are not talking. It is not about those who want to contest alone. If you are also going to be a delegate, you must resign.
At the primaries or convention.
At the primaries or at the convention, you must resign. That's the irony. Today the deputy Senate president in his office, a circular was passed. If you are likely or you have been elected as a delegate in your state, anywhere,
you need to come and resign.
Go and resign. Because you're being a public appointee, a political appointee, will disqualify you from going to vote for the candidate of your choice during the primaries. So that is one of the reasons why some people are in court. It's not about people who want to contest alone. It is such that, look, you will no longer use the power of incumbency in a manner that will rob others of their chances.
I think the National Assembly.
They saw it. Who are those who are having those
And the
appointees?
president appealed to the National Assembly.
But they are yet
do something about it.
They have not said no. No, they say we cannot begin to. That's why some people are now going to get some funny judgment, and the Constitution says when any order clashes with the provisions of the Constitution, the Constitution becomes what? Supreme. What does the Constitution say about the act of lawmaking? It says no body can stop the National Assembly in the business of lawmaking. So what are we trying to do with that court judgment? Are we now vesting the office of the Attorney General with the power to make laws? Look at what the judge said. Go and delete. We send people all over the country, 3 per state, to the Senate to represent you and I. We send people in the lower house, the House of Reps. After they sat down, back and forth, front and back, the president even signed. Then one judge, with due respect to the judiciary, sits somewhere and tells one man appointed by the president who signed to go and delete what has been done.
And he wanted to do it immediately.
And he was ready to do it immediately until the National Assembly appealed. And don't forget, once an appeal is ongoing, that order
I think going by what the All Progressive Congress did in their last convention,
yes,
that they just said, look, if you fall into this category,
just go and wait, and that's the ruling party,
so that we
because they don't want to because now it's on appeal. You don't know where, and this is going to go all the way to the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
For once and for all, we are going to decide it, and then if you now go ahead, conduct a primary where these people, vote. If the court says they ought not to have voted, then everything you did becomes null and void. So I would say that INEC is doing well by insisting that let's go by what is signed.
Asuko, we have people that we know that they've been under pressure to contest, or they want to contest, or different
they are
groups
being begged to contest.
Yes, there have been people are urging them to contest. People like the CBN governor, a lot of groups I've seen his posters. I saw it at the last convention. They've not officially, but with this timetable now, Mr. Emefiele, we have to take a stand.
Exactly.
Like the vice president, Yemi Osinbajo, a lot of this solidarity group and everybody, they've been rooting for him too. With this timetable now, Mr. Vice President, we have to come out to tell Nigerians.
The Vice President
is not affected.
He's
the Vice President
not.
No. I'm not saying to resign. What I'm saying that we have to decide. We have to decide.
Yes, exactly.
I want to contest.
Yes,
I'm not contesting
within
this
time frame.
Yes,
exactly. Because the thing
at least he needs to talk to delegates.
I don't want to talk about the person, Emefiele, why he has not come out publicly to say, oh, I'm contesting or I'm not contesting.
The denial has not been convincing.
It's not.
I've seen denial.
Because the thing is, with the way the economy is, Nigerians are even angry that he even wants to come out. So most Nigerians are angry. So in fact, some people, if you go on the street, they say, is it not this man that we are banking? That is a layman's thinking. This man that is collecting our money, our 65 naira every month. That is how they are thinking. And he wants to be president. So if he wants to be, everybody is entitled to be president, Ayo. If he wants to be president, let him throw his hat in the ring. We want the more the merrier. If the president,
this is not the time.
This is the time. They said 4th of April.
Yes.
The vice president wants to. So many other people that we've been hearing their names, including ministers. Let them resign, go and buy form, and then from there, the issue about consensus that we do not is a story for another day. Because for me, I do not like that issue about consensus.
Do we turn up in the last convention of the All Progressive Congress?
Everybody, if I buy form, don't tell me that you return my money after I've spent millions of naira and you want to now give me 20 million. No. Let me go to the contest. Let me slug it out. If I lose, I know I lose. You understand? So for the likes of Emefiele, if they want to if he wants to contest, let him come out.
He can aspire.
Yes, he can aspire. Why?
So all this denial,
it doesn't hold water. It doesn't hold water. Let him not waste money looking for people who will say is a Mefi. No,
Mefi 22.
No, he's not. Let him come out and say I want to. Then bring out his CV.
And if he's not interested, he should
not come out.
He shouldn't. I am not.
There is no need for him to do shadow. No shadow. Come out and say it. Because to me, if he cannot come out and tell me that I want to be president, it means he's a weak president. He's going to be a weak person. You must, as a president, you must stand out and come out and then take bold decisions. That is the kind of people that we should be looking out for. Not people who will look for people and say, go and say it. Let's test the waters. No. You know, we can't be begging people anymore.
But some people are begging him.
No, we don't know. The thing is, if somebody is begging me,
he's sitting in his office.
No,
people are going there to beg him.
Somebody is begging me to become something.
Then you are not. I'm not interested.
Then I'm not interested.
I'm not
prepared. I will come out and I
it.
say no. For this particular position, my guys, I'm not sure I can do it. And if I am interested, I'll say okay, thank you. I am interested.
Perspective that this person is in charge of our treasury, and by this time, if you want to go close to anything like that, he should have resigned.
Exactly. In other climes, these things are just
they are very easy.
They are the normal.
Yes,
they are the normal. But here we begin to ask questions. Why? You want to be president, or people are asking you to be president, and you are already giving it a consideration. Leave your position of advantage.
Okay. Yes,
so that
exactly.
you are not taking
that is the
advantage
right
of
word.
Because
that's the right word.
I think you have a job to do. The economy requires a lot of attention
exactly.
now. And the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria is a key player in giving that attention. But rather than pay attention to our economy, he's busy consulting. Because you cannot tell me that people are begging you to contest and you have not said no, I'm not interested. You will be consulting.
Yes, now.
So you are consulting. Are you
whether I can win or I cannot.
So you have left the job undone. So since you have deputy governor,
it's going to be interesting.
Leave the seat.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Now.